What's up? What's up? Welcome, everybody. Happy Monday. This is our 3-point stance presented by Mountain Dew. Megan Triplett on her way back from being Olympic Meg. So I have this week, Devin Walker's out in Vegas. I have the lovely Jessica Benson filling in. Jessica.
Third string.
Third string. Hey, look, you're stretched thin as it is. I saw you during the Grizzlies season. I know how thin you were stretched and how stretched you were. Well, I try not to ask too much of you unless I absolutely need you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. But so excited to be on my 3-point stance debut.
Presented by Mountain Dew.
Presented by Mountain Dew.
Yeah, you can't forget that. And another reason, I know you had a long day yesterday because it's back to getting brutally hot in Memphis. And you were out at the WGC FedEx St. Jude Invitational for the final round. I'm sure you were exhausted afterwards. But once again, this tournament delivered. Abraham Ancer, tell me all about Sunday at Southwind.
Oh, my gosh. Jon Roser, you missed a heck of a day out at Southwind. And the fact that you end up with a 3-man playoff with neither of the two golfers who were in that final pairing in Harris English and Bryson DeChambeau. We started our day. We have a friend in town, and so we found Phil Mickelson on the course when we got there because we were like, okay, you're at WGC FedEx St. Jude Invitational. Golf in Memphis, you got to follow Phil for a minute. So we watched like 2 Phil shots, and then we went to the first tee box and hung out with Harris English and Bryson DeChambeau for a little bit. It was fun to listen to the crowd. There was a surprising amount of supporters for Bryson DeChambeau. I know there's all the focus on like those who were yelling Brooksy, but I was shocked at how many legitimate Bryson fans were in attendance at TPC Southwind on Sunday who seemed legitimately pulling for Bryson DeChambeau in that situation. But you had Harris English, and it looked very much like he was going to go wire to wire. Ultimately, they got a time warning at some point, and Harris English said that really threw him off and felt like he was rushing all through the back 9. He fell apart. You ultimately get a 3-man playoff. Abraham Ancer in that equation. I had a personal experience with it in that my significant other had decided to bet on Abraham Ancer early in the day, and then he cashed out while Abraham Ancer was on the green of the first extra 18th hole of the playoff. And then he did a little switcheroo and decided to buy in on Sam Burns, and Abraham Ancer won. So
why? How do you cash out after the first playoff hole? At that point, it's like, okay, you're already there. Like,
okay, but in the situation, like he cashed out after their approach shot. He was able to cash out $90. It's small money bets. I mean, they bet $40. It was him and his friend, 20 apiece. And so they each made a profit of 25. But then Chris wanted to, feel the burn a little bit extra and goes in on Sam Burns.
And that's
ultimately got him.
Look, I'm not going to sit there and say I've never cashed out bets before and then flip to something else. But I don't know. I just kind of think once you're at that point in the playoff, you're already in the playoff. Like what?
Exactly. I know. And what got him is he definitely was. He was a victim of the people around him being like, "Yo, if this hit, it would be like one of the greatest little bet sequences of all time, like cash out, buy in on the next guy, and if that guy were to win, it would have been spectacular." But instead, congrats to Abraham Ancer. Should have been the answer all along. We should have known.
Nice. Should have been the answer all along. All right. So another great time out at the WGC FedEx St. Jude Invitational. Next year it becomes a playoff event on tour, and eventually it seems like it's probably going to be where the FedEx Cup Championship is, because it's the FedEx Cup Championship. And I don't know if you've ever turned on Hacks Cross right there, but there's a big thing that says FedEx World Headquarters right there. So it kind of makes sense that we would have that eventually down the line that the FedEx Cup Playoff Championship could be in Memphis. A little bit. Now we're going to go to 2 teary-eyed things here to wrap up. And I normally don't do teary-eyed stuff, but that's what we're going to have to do. Bobby Bowden, the former head coach at Florida State, 91 years old, passed away yesterday. And, he had a terminal illness, and he said a couple of weeks ago that he was at peace. His family was by his side, and he was at peace. That, he's 91 years old. He's like, man, I've lived a great life. I have been blessed beyond belief. The Lord has done so much for me, and he was a guy who they say was faith, family, football is what he always told his players. And you saw yesterday. I mean, even Steve Spurrier came out of the wood, came out on Twitter and said something. But if you go down the line at his former players, and it kind of reminded me of times that I've seen interviews with Vince Carter when he was here, or James Worthy and Sam Perkins when they came in town for to get the Sports Legacy Award for the Civil Rights Museum on MLK Day, and how they talked about Dean Smith. This is how Bobby Bowden's former players at Florida State talk about him. And he did something I don't know if it can ever be done again. He started that program from scratch, like nothing. And there's just not enough patience for that today, unless you're doing it at an insanely small school. But if you get a program that like has gone on probation, hardcore or something, and just gets totally ripped apart, like fans don't have the patience for that anymore. What he did at Florida State.
No, and I mean, 2 national championships, 12 ACC championships, like everything he did on the football field solidifies his legacy. And I know it's teary because he passed, but 91 years of life is a remarkable life lived. And the fact that he was able to go out with his family around him at peace, he is a man of faith and he is steadfast in that faith. And then ultimately for me, what was so cool to see was the outpouring of not just words from his former players or people within the football community, but like the lives he touched just on a daily basis. So many reporters have a personal story with Bobby Bowden, and Mike Wallace was just on Rise and Grind this morning, and he covered him for a period of time, and he has a story about Bobby Bowden and sitting in his office and talking to him. So check out today's episode of Rise and Grind for that. But it just feels like anyone who ever shared a moment with Coach Bowden has one of those stories, and that's awesome.
No, it absolutely is. I remember I saw him speak at Bellevue. I wanted to go to Bellevue Baptist because Bobby Bowden was speaking. That's not where I went to church, but I love Florida State. Bobby Bowden was one of the biggest reasons. All right, lastly, we got to be quick here. Lionel Messi, we're going to go to soccer. He also got very emotional during his press conference yesterday because he will not be back at Barcelona. He offered to cut his salary in half. That still wasn't enough. He was making an ungodly amount of money there. If you saw his original contract, it's insanity. But real quick here, spent his entire career there. It looks like he's probably going to go play for Paris Saint-Germain and his old teammate Neymar, who's there. Whether it's been Tim Duncan with the Spurs or Dirk Nowitzki with the Mavericks or Kobe Bryant with the Lakers, like who could we see this from in the NBA? Is there anybody that we could see this from in basketball that could stay in one place for that long? That Messi was with Barcelona his entire career. Like he had been there since he's like 8 years old at their academy.
I mean, Steph Curry with the Warriors.
Curry, yeah. But this is what I was saying. You've already heard some things.
I know. And that's why, like, if it does happen in today's NBA, the reason this is such a outlandish conversation to have is because it's just not the trend of what happens right now in the NBA. In a situation like on the NFL side of things, you could have said it with Brady, but even that ran out. And then he goes and wins another championship in Tampa Bay.
That's the thing. If Tom Brady goes anywhere, like if he goes elsewhere, like, good God, there's just no, everybody's going to go somewhere else. I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, Bills fans love Josh Allen, but like if Mahomes, they probably think Mahomes is going to be in Kansas City his entire career. But like, it's the crazy thing is that Messi is still good. And
he still has life to give.
Yes, he's still really good, and that's part of like, whoa. They're letting him go when he's even this good still. You would usually can start to hear it when guys slip a little bit. It's like, why do we still have this guy and blah blah blah. But no, I'm with you. Loyalty. Chris Brown said these hoes ain't loyal, and I just mean that like all of sports. I'm not talking like women in general. Right. Sports world, yeah, and how it can be a very shady industry. Jessica, I really appreciate it. Thank you very much for joining me. This has been our 3 Point Stance presented by Mountain Dew.
Bye.